Hey, what's up, guys? It's TJ here, and I'm going to be doing something a little different in this video. I'm going to start a new series out, and every week I'm going to do just a vlog, kind of a rant, I guess you would say. There's a lot of things in gaming that I like. There's a lot of things in gaming that I don't like so much. And I just wanted to touch on some of the points that I think are things that people don't normally think about, or things that that people just don't bring up. And sometimes I think of points that people don't tend to mention. Today I'd like to talk about. I'm going to be running some Battlefield 4 in the background of this, but I'm actually not going to be playing while I do this narration because I would like to be able to focus on what I'm trying to say, basically. So what I'd like to talk about in this video is cross-platforming between consoles and PCs, and what it means to a lot of gamers. Me and my coworker were talking about this last night, and it really sparked some intrigue. And we agreed at most points, but I think that personally, some genres can work. But for the most part, it would actually kill gaming for both PC gamers and console gamers, and I'm going to discuss why in this video. So, I guess it's something that's been ever growing. My generation, I'm about 24 years old, and my generation grew up on the early consoles. So NES, SNES, a lot older folk were actually PC gamers before they were console gamers, and I understand that. But in my generation, it seems that we're the driving force behind video games, as far as what we demand, and the kind of things that we want. And I know that when A Realm Reborn came out on the PS3 as well as PC, and it was cross-platform, I know that was a big thing, and everyone applauded them for it. I agree that in MMO genre that can work, but I've been seeing a lot of questions. Hey, is PS4 online gameplay going to be cross-platform with PC, such as like Call of Duty Ghost and Battlefield 4? And I'm seeing that it's not, which I agree with. I don't think it should be, but I see a bunch of people are kind of bummed. And I'll tell you why I don't agree with it. Basically, I think that you have a mashup of two types of people in the game, and I think that it would be extremely toxic for the community. We grew up, like I said, my generation grew up on consoles, and when it comes to consoles, we've accepted the limitations and the community atmosphere of the console we buy. You go out and you spend like $600 on the new PS4. You're not going to just say, oh, I'm not going to play this thing anymore because I don't really like the community. You'll just find ways around it, like muting speak in game and stuff like that. But PC gamers have always had the opportunity to take it to the next level and say, you know what, I'll mute speech in game, but we'll get our friends on TeamSpeak or Ventrilo or something like that. So I think the reason behind why consoles wouldn't cross-platform well, especially in the first-person shooter genre, would be because of the toxicity of the community's clash. It wouldn't necessarily be that, console gamers have a more toxic community, or PC gamers have a more toxic community. But I think them hitting each other in the same type of matches would create a very toxic environment. Not only that, but you're going to be dealing with people that are on a locked frame rate on the PlayStation or Xbox, as you would against people who have basically an unlimited frame rate, whatever they can push out through their hardware. So you're going to run into those people that have 4 Titans SLI'd, getting like 250 frames on Battlefield 4, and you're going to be playing against the guy that's locked at 30 because he's on a console. And that amount of frame rate can really do the difference. So there's a lot of things that come into consideration. I know the end user, some people that I know that are into consoles, they're like, man, it would be really cool if we could play against people on PCs. And me as a PC gamer, I'm like, no, you would not like it. The PC gamers would not be able to put up with the things that console gamers have put up with for so long, which would be, the young kids in game, young kids aren't going to have a $2,000 computer that they built, so you don't have those young kids in game screaming, that everybody knows Xbox Live and even PSN now is getting, inundated with. PC gamers would not put up with that. They would just, and PC gamers can find a way around it if that happened. They would be PC only servers, and they would find a way. So I don't think that cross-platforming in the first-person shooter genre would ever work. It doesn't work in theory, and it just doesn't make sense. So if I ever see a game out there that's cross-platform for first-person shooters, more than likely, I would anticipate it not succeeding. Because of that reason. Just like the game could be awesome. It could be great, but I think because of the limitations or the things that you have to put up with as a player would be way too high. I don't think players would be able to deal with it. And I mean, same goes to console gamers. They're gonna be like, oh my god, we have a bunch of PC gamer elitists in here, and they're all complaining about lag spikes and things like that what they would normally have. Or they're complaining about people talking in actual in the actual game. Because I mean, really, honestly, what PC gamers nowadays actually use the in-game chat in any game at all, ever? They really don't. It just doesn't happen. So I think, but that's a huge thing on consoles because they don't have a third-party application that works with it through every game that runs in the background, and they can all jump in it and it runs. They might in the PS4 and Xbox One. I don't know. I haven't looked into it too much if they're going to have some sort of Ventrilo application or some sort of PlayStation Network application or, TeamSpeak or something like that in the background. But I know that if you're in the library, you're in the library or you're out of it. Like, you're in the chat or you're completely out of it. You can't just say, hey, just mute these people. I don't know, maybe. But there's a lot of debate around it. I've been hearing a lot about it. Like, why isn't the PS4 going to be cross-platform with PC, especially with the console gamers that think they're competitive, And some console gamers are competitive, but a controller will never be a mouse and keyboard in speed and accuracy ever. I mean, I'll stand by that. If you guys want to argue about it, then you can. But I'm going to stand by that no matter what. I will always think that mouse and keyboard is going to be faster than a gamepad. But back to my original point, I just don't think that any game should be cross-platform with consoles. Like, anything should cross between PC and console. MMOs, it's getting there. It's evolving. I know MMOs are breaking out into the console realm, and they've never been there before. So I can understand the fresh new ground and the audience that you're wanting to get. But I honestly don't think that it's going to work out well as far as how the community is going to be driven. PC gamers tend to focus a lot more on community, whereas console gamers are more me kind of players. You never see a console gamer really go into forums and communicate and talk about game bugs and game issues and bring basically improvements up to the developers and say, hey, you guys there's some issues here that we need to work out, and this is my suggestions and this is my feedback, because this is the future of gaming, is developers listening to their communities. We've seen that with plenty of games coming out, especially as indie developers get bigger. The indie world is getting so much more popular, and indie developers tend to read their forums a lot more. Like, if you have a suggestion for an indie game that's ongoing with patches and updates, a lot of the times the community is readily heard and listened to, and the improvements are really focused on what the community asked for. And I don't see any kind of indie breakthrough in the console game, in the console systems, as far as the way how fast that comes about. Like, yeah, I can see patches coming out every once in a while, but when you buy a console game, you don't expect it to ever not be finished. You know what I mean? PC gamers have been bombarded with betas and alphas and testing, and understand what bugs are and understand how glitches work and why, you know. But with a console gamer, they just are like, oh, this game is buggy. And they leave it at that. They say bad purchase and maybe look at the developer and say, yeah, I'm not going to buy their next games or whatever. Whereas we're like, hey, you know, we understand what a work in progress is. So we, as in PC gamers, I mean, I'm not bashing on either one. Both have their communities, but I think that both communities are way too different. They're way too spread apart as far as their mentalities, and I don't think that if you clash them in multiplayer, it would turn out well for anybody. Yeah, I mean, for all the console gamers out there that ask me, they're like, you know, TJ, is PC gaming worth it? You know, because you do have a much larger upfront cost. I tell them, yeah, you know, my PC will last twice as long as your console. My PC's a decade ahead in technology. You know, I'm not locked at frame rates. I'm not locked at hertz for my resolution. There's just a lot of things about PC gaming that give the advantage. So to lock yourself down into a console, in my opinion, is a little bit. Never mind. Anyways, this goes back to mixing multiplayers. I just don't think it should happen. I'm gonna leave it at that. We're running out of time here. I don't want to keep these videos too long. They're just rants. But if you guys have any suggestions of anything you want me to look up or talk about, any kind of issues that you have come across in the gaming universe, bring them up to me in the comments below. I'd love to hear about them. If it's something that I'm interested in, I will definitely take a look at it, dig deeper, and I will make a video on it. I'm probably going to be doing these rants about once a week. I'm thinking I'm going to upload them on Mondays. So keep your eyes and ears posted for these. And yeah, I'll leave it at that, guys. So tell me what you think about it in the comments below. Do you think that multiplayer should be mixed between consoles and PC? And if so, give me an example of a game that you think would be a good fit for something like that. I know Realm Reborn has done it, so don't bring that one up. But if you think there's a game out there that would fit well between console and PC, that's not an MMO, because I think that's the only one that works. But if it's not an MMO, you know, let me know what you think would work between a console and a PC for their communities. All right, guys, thank you for watching. This has been fun. I'm going to be doing a lot of these. So yeah, leave in the comments below, and I will catch you guys later. You guys are probably having just this. Oh shit. Excuse me. You're in my path. Do I need a light?